Hey guys, welcome to this week's blog. Yay, it's Thursday. Super exciting. Anyway, this week, and you guys are probably gonna hate me or groan a little bit at this one because I've been tweeting this like for the last week nonstop, but it's because I'm reaching the end of the second draft, and as it becomes more and more real to me, I have to kind of go back and relive some of the things that I've written. So here we go. Characters' emotional impacts on me personally, the author. It's a bit of a weird thing, right? Because you create your characters and you know exactly where they're going to go and what they're going to do. For the most part, I think that we pretty well planned it out, right? Except for, I don't think I was ever personally prepared for liking my characters as much as I did, or becoming attached to my characters as much as I was or am. So when certain things happen, I really want to talk about it. I want to talk about everything that happens, but I don't want to spoil the book. So I'm not going to mention any specifics, but there are a few characters that, from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, they're present, and they grew on me personally, and I kind of hoped that it translates to the audience. But for the relevant part here, I wasn't prepared for liking them as much as I did, and then having to put them through something that was more or less this terrible traumatic event. It strikes me as bizarre because, you know, I read I can't remember which book it was for The Song of Ice and Fire, but it was the third book, whatever one that was. Sort of A Storm of Swords. Got it. Anyway, you have the Red Wedding, and I won't spoil, but you have characters who get butchered, and you've been with them for so long. You know these characters. You kind of personally know these characters, so the impact is tremendous. And after I had read the Red Wedding scene, I had to stop reading the book. So I don't know why it was such a surprise when I killed some of my own characters that it was this heavy kind of weight that I felt with it, and I kind of felt sad. I mean, it wasn't necessarily like depressed or I had to go cry or something like that, but the character that I'm talking about, they die, and something happens where it has an instant impact on the people around this character. And I think, for the most part, I'm a very empathetic person. So I can kind of put myself in the place of these characters who have their lives torn apart in this instant, and I feel that intensely. And there are other authors who don't feel that, who can go and they can kill their characters, and it feels almost gratifying because they're pushing their plot forward, and it's something that this character was created to do, in a sense. And while I understand that, and I would never stop a character from dying because of personal attachment, I feel there is an attachment to my character, and it gets to me when they have to be put down. And the funny thing is, I was doing, I can't remember what chapter it was. It's like in the 20s, I think. And a group of characters were actually killed. And it's a whole backstory to the main antagonist. And it hit me even, I think, I wouldn't say more than the other character who dies later on, but it hit me in a way that was kind of strange, because the flashbacks are a much smaller section of the story. You spend less time with these characters, you know far less about them, but I don't think it's necessarily the amount of time that you spent with them, but the ability to empathize with the situation, regardless of how you feel about those characters, that kind of creates the emotional impact. Or at least that's kind of how it works with me. Although, to be honest, I've spent so much time. I mean, before it was ever written, I had thought of the ending of the book. I had thought of how I was going to create the backstory for the antagonist. So I knew how the story was going to play out before it was ever put to paper, before I even wrote the first paragraph, the first word of the first chapter. So, in essence, I have spent a greater amount of time than my readers will ever with these characters, and I know more about them, and I've created like these histories that you will never read because I kind of went into crazy detail with my outline, which is probably something I'll bring up a little bit later on with a blog about outlining, which was a little bit different for me than I think most people do theirs. So that'd be kind of cool, but people won't have that. I'm not sure if they'll have the same reaction, because they will probably more than likely have their moment with the characters within the set, or the scenes that they're set in, and then it'll be done. But if the job was done correctly, then hopefully people will have their emotional moment like I had. And I could, like, that stuff brings tears to my eyes when I'm like, okay, so this scene is taking place, some people are going to die, and it's not like an instant death, it's a death which they know is coming. They see it, they have time to ponder it, and some of them are younger than others, and they don't really fully comprehend what this means, and of course, as a human being, they fear death, but don't really understand the impact of it, and it takes a bit out of me, honestly, when I'm writing this stuff. And honestly, if it translates, I'm gonna be so happy to see other people who see these characters, who experience the same emotions that these characters are feeling, and just kind of, I don't know, get a little broken up about it. I'm hoping. So, I've been talking about this forever, and I'll probably still bring it up, because I still have, I don't know how many chapters left of my edit. I'm actually getting really close to finishing up before I start doing my official beta stuff. So, oh yeah, if you want to do the beta, if you want to be a beta reader, contact me. This is going to, of course, become irrelevant when the beta phase is done and the book is finished, but for those who are curious about it, contact me on Twitter, contact me on YouTube, contact me on Facebook. Most of it is at Written by Carrie or Written by Carrie, so if you know my picture, then you'll know when you find me, wherever you look for me. And I think that's going to be it for this week. So thank you all very much for taking the time to listen to another one of my inane rants about writing and things of that nature. I will see you guys next week. Till then, bye.